Recording.
Okay.
Hey!
Already?
Are you recording already?
Yes! Because what we could do is we can cut out the kind of beginning bit, but then it means that we can just flow as soon as we're ready.
If we need to.
You might not need to.
No.
The sign language is going beautifully, V.
Yeah, I'm thinking that maybe I should sign this as well, then it's accessible. Also, it'd be really fantastic if there were subtitles on it. I don't know whether you can sort that out.
We can certainly try.
Not something we know how to do, but we can research and have a look.
That'd be fantastic, because I'm going to try and make all my videos accessible from now on.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure that anything I'm involved in has subtitles and signing as well.
Yeah, that definitely something because we've got time, because the video doesn't go out until the 4th, so we've got time in there's a couple of days to kind of work all of that out and get access.
Apparently it's not difficult, apparently, but I mean, I'm just a bit technologically not fantastic.
Likewise.
Not fantastic, that's me.
So how's it all going? What's happening? Borneo.
Yes, we're a little bit tired, so I'm letting you know that, because it's been a ridiculously long day today, hasn't it?
Yeah. But it's been phenomenal.
Yeah,
it has been absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah,
and
I'd live here. If my cat, my dog, and my son were here, I would live here.
Wow.
Yeah, seeing my highlight, and they will probably get sick of this for the next 20 years.
Lifetime.
Yes, is literally, you know, I've been bitten on my leg, and it's turned into a bit of a problem, but I'm working with it. So I sent David off, and he goes off on this monkey trip, which I was kind of gutted about, but self-care, I knew it was the best thing I could do. I have a little nap, I get up, I'm sitting outside, and suddenly the whole of the jungle starts erupting behind me, and there's trees moving everywhere, and you know it's something big. So I go out there, and it's like there's an orangutan in the tree, a wild one, and I have this complete and utter excitable meltdown where I'm like watching this orangutan bounce through the trees and ending up in a tree less than 15 foot in front of me, Vivien. And I was like, oh my God, I haven't read the manual of what to do when you see an orangutan, you know, because he was so close, and I was blown away, Vivien. I was like, I can't even begin to tell you. I was like, all my Christmases have come in one go. That's the best way of putting it to you. To see, a live, totally wild orangutan. It's just like, wow. And I sent David a text, and he came back, and it was nesting up in the tree behind. I caught brilliant video footage of it.
Yeah.
You know.
So this youngling was there all night, nested through the rain, and was quite happy, just kind of laid up in this palm tree, just, wait out the storm overnight, didn't he? So,
well, you thought he bounced on the roof at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Something hit the roof at 4 o'clock in the morning. Personally, I think he was throwing coconuts down at us.
So yeah,
it's been an absolute massive learning curve.
Yeah.
We've seen some amazing things. Got up close and personal with leaf monkeys. And when I say up close and personal, the thing was almost sat on my lap.
Wow.
So yeah, that's pretty awesome.
But you know what? We're not supposed to be talking about us.
This isn't. So let's get to the point, okay?
You get very carried away here, Vivien. Don't ask us about Borneo again.
Okay. So thank you for everyone who is joining us. This is one of our last few days here in Borneo, and we wanted to get ready for our featured member video for next month. And we're delighted to let everybody know that this next month, November's featured member is Dr. Vivien Sabel.
Yes.
So we met Vivien at one of our retreats up in Sugnall Hall.
Yeah, where she was. We've got to start the story from the beginning.
Okay.
I contacted Vivien, and I said, "Would you like to?" And she thought, "No, this is crazy. This is not what it's supposed to be. It's not going to be for free. It's not going to be what we want it to be." She just didn't quite believe me, did you? But then we talked it through very nicely, and I managed to persuade her to come. And I've said it to her before, and my image of Vivien is walking through the dining hall at Sugnall Hall with the biggest smile, just looking so ridiculously happy. That is my image of you, Vivien. And I was so glad you trusted me to know that there wasn't some wicked little catch up my elbow, and that we weren't trying to coerce you into anything.
Yeah.
But your presence was phenomenal that weekend. For that face, that moment, that's the one in here. So thank you for trusting me.
That's really nice. It's like emotional to hear that. When you say it back to me, it's like, wow. That kind of impact that people talk about. Maybe they talk about it in therapy, or they say you've had a big impact on me, and you hear it. But when it's like colleagues, somehow it's missing. It doesn't happen. So it's lovely to hear that back from you. And I know you've said it to me personally before, but now you're saying it publicly. So thank you. It was a fantastic weekend.
It was, and a great pleasure.
It was brilliant, but we wanted to give you an opportunity to let the members and the wider audience know a little bit more about what you do, and what your plans are moving into 2020. So this is your opportunity.
Wow, that's a big question. And okay. So first of all, you may be wondering, why am I signing? I suppose recently I felt like I have to try and make my videos or anything that I'm connected with accessible to deaf people. There are lots of deaf therapists out there that maybe want to watch this and can't access this in sign language. Yes, I see your hearing aid as well, Bonnie, yes. And so for me, it's really important to have some signing on the video. And hopefully you guys will put some subtitles on as well, or captions, or whatever they're called officially. I don't know. So that's the first thing. So I'm not just like flapping my hands for no reason. I'm using sign supported English, which is also known as SSE, because using BSL and English at the same time is really difficult because it's a different order. So these signs are kind of connected to the English order. That's why it's SSE and not BSL, which is British Sign Language. Okay, so let's pop that aside, and you know why I'm signing. Okay, so what am I doing? Oh, well, wow. Big question, lots of things at the moment, and more that perhaps you don't know about. So this is an opportunity for me to inform you guys of some things that are coming up in the future as well. So at the moment I'm working as a psychotherapist with both the deaf and hearing community. So I work with young people, with mothers and babies, and with adults and couples as a psychotherapist, and I've been doing that for roughly 13, 14 years, something like that. I spend about 50% of my time working with deaf clients who maybe use BSL or SSE. So that's like half of my caseload is working with the deaf community.
Yeah.
And then I do some community interpreting as well. So I don't know whether you know this. So I get asked all the time, please can you come along and interpret for me at this appointment or this meeting? Because I've been working with the deaf community for about 26, 27 years, something like that.
Okay, wow.
And also my mum is profoundly deaf, but she doesn't use sign language, and that's a different story. That's fine. That's her choice. That's okay. So that's the sort of some of the clinical work that I do. I'm also a writer and author of 2 books. I think most people know this, but one book is called The Blossom Method. Blossom is the name of my daughter, so that's why I named it after her. I think she finds it a bit difficult now because she's 14. So when she was a baby and I named the book after her, that was fine. But now she's like 14. She's saying, can you just change the name of the book? And I'm saying, no, I can't change the name of the book. That's impossible. It wouldn't be the Blossom Method without you. And the book is a little accessible parenting book about understanding the language of babies and connecting through non-verbal communication with your baby. Really, it's a book about attachment. That's what it's about. And it was published in 2012 by Random House, now known as Random Penguin. So yeah, they changed their name. So yeah. And my second book is a book called Robot Meg. She lives in my head. And that's a story about the negative internal critic that we all have inside of us. That little voice that says, oh, you're not good enough. You can't do that. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do this. Why are you doing that? And all of those negative little voices that we all have. And the story was based upon some work that I did with a young, a child of 7 at the time, who had this voice that was saying, I can't do this. It's like I've got a robot in my head. Mm. And I said to this girl, I'm going to write a book about this. And I did it to her, and there we have it, and it's in print forever. So that's nice. At the moment, I'm writing a 3rd book, which is the rebirth of the Blossom Method.
Okay.
And that's kind of exciting because I'm taking the original material and then using material from my doctoral thesis and combining them, but also I've got some fantastic contributors who are going to be talking about the Blossom Method in context.
And that's phenomenal. That shows that collaboration growing beyond just the thesis for the doctoral process.
It's a bit like Blossom. It's almost like as she grows,
the process is growing
with your own process and utilising all the information. And I love the robot. And the reason I love the robot is because it almost feels like separate to a feeling. You know, it's robotic. So as you said it, I thought, what a great way of actually labelling something that isn't actually an empathetic feeling. It's something that's cold, it's something that's hard, it's something that's critical. And actually, robot sounds quite a nice terminology for the way that you're going with that. So Vivien, spot on. I really picked up on that instantaneously. And your daughter is absolutely beautiful, by the way.
I think so, but she's my daughter, right?
Yeah, you're not going to turn around and go, well, can I have a second go?
She is an absolute stunner, but she also seems really, really confident and outgoing, and I say that because obviously I've seen what she's doing, I've seen what she's involved in, I've seen what you've advertised, and every time I see a photograph, I think, well, Vivien's done good, because somewhere in amongst that, she's created a very strong-minded, quite confident young woman there that's allowing herself to express herself. And it's lovely to see. So Blossom suits her. She's growing.
She's growing, and she's a bit sassy. But then 14-year-olds are, aren't they?
Yes.
Exactly.
You've got that for about another 10 years.
Oh.
But she's fantastic. But she won't appreciate me talking about her on here, so I'll just move on. What else can I tell you? So, I met someone the other day. I was invited to see a preview of a performance at a theatre, and I observed this performance and was really excited. So it was a hearing writer, a hearing musician, and a deaf performer.
Okay.
And it was fantastic just to see it, you know. So the story, it's like a little ghost story, and it's called Upon the Stair, and it's just a fantastic story. So the writer was reading the script. There was a musician playing string in the background, and then there was the BSL using performer. It was fantastic. And I was observing this, and I thought, yeah, it's really clear, the characterization's strong, and I gave my feedback because that's what we were asked to do at the end of it. And then I started to talk to the guys that are involved in the project, and the actress who I know as Raffi Julian, she's based in Manchester. She's been in some TV show called Clink, which I think was about a women's prison or something.
Okay.
I haven't seen it myself, so she's been doing a lot of performing. I just started to talk to her about the possibility of using performance with young people to sort of challenge and to educate around mental health. And she got very excited, and we both got very excited. So there's a possibility that we're going to be collaborating on quite a big project that's going to involve both deaf and hearing children, and going to involve both sign language and performance.
Wow.
So we're very excited.
I'm getting there too.
I don't blame you. I keep on thinking one of these days, you know, I know my own deafness is getting worse, and I am very, very aware of it. And I know I have to learn some sign language along the way. I really recognise that. But to actually hear an idea where bringing, if you like, collaborations, what we always talk about, isn't it, Vivien? Collaborating, yep. And actually bringing that to, because I know what it's like just not to hear when people are talking to me, and how frustrating it can actually feel when they're frustrated with you as well, you know. And yet it's kind of like, it's almost like the joke disability, you know, you're deaf. And the truth of the matter is, kids that grow up in that kind of environment, if I bring myself back to that time when I was a kid, I don't know how deaf I was. Maybe that's why I got in trouble with my mother all the time. I didn't listen. Maybe because I didn't hear. I don't know. But when I look at what you're talking about, a phenomenal way of reaching children through performance and having them involved in it, Vivien, that's incredibly exciting. That really, really is. You've got to keep updated on that.
I will. I think because also I've lost some hearing, and then more recently lost a bit more. I'm thinking, yeah, it's really powerful. That what you've just been talking about, that kind of how frustrating it is for my daughter, for other people, how in a crowded space that I'm just not going to hear anything. One-to-one is fine. I don't wear my hearing aid, I stick it in the drawer, forget about it. But in a group situation, it's going to be difficult. It is difficult for me, and I know that I miss things. And sometimes it can be funny with me and my daughter. She'll say, "No, I never said that," and I say, "Oh, I thought you said that." And it sounds funny what we think we've said, but for me, yeah, it's so important. My mum fell between two cultures. She is profoundly deaf, but she is psychologically hearing. So she's never accepted or identified herself as a deaf person. She just pretended to be hearing. And that's had a massive impact on her for all her life. And I don't want that for me, and I don't want that for children or adults. And I think it impacts on mental health. But the exciting thing is that we are going to use the background, the story of Robot Meg and the negative internal critic to create this performance.
Wow.
So we're going to use that. I'm going to write the play, and I'm also going to, this is a big thing, but I'm going to write a musical. So we're going to have singing, and we're going to have signing. We're going to have performance, spoken and signing.
Wow.
And we're going to have deaf young people.
Yes, no. So that we can come and see that and share it with us, so that we can advertise. You know, I support you so much in this. I mean, both me and David do, but on a very personal note to me, you know, because of my own deafness in both ears. And what you said about, you know, sometimes it's funny. You're right. I mean, David laughs at me all the time. Thankfully, I've got a very, very thick skin. And I don't internalise it. And sometimes my interpretation is absolutely hysterical, and I can afford to laugh at myself.
Exactly.
But being a kid without the techniques and understanding and capacity that I have of being self-aware, the damage emotionally that it could do to somebody could be absolutely awful for their self-esteem. So really appreciate why that critical robot is coming into play. It's almost like perfectly synchronized to tie in with absolutely everything you know incredibly well. So good for you, Viv, for suggesting that.
And also, it's my background. So when I left school, I studied drama and stage design and costume design. That was my big interest at the time. So I'm now going right back to my all in performance, in design, in set design, and now more.
So all those things that
just to yeah.
All those things
like all
that
parts
you've kind
of you, isn't it?
been through are now culminating in something where every one of those experiences has its place and has its need. And for me, I think.
Oh, I just thought of something.
Oh, here we go.
I just thought, Vivien, once that show is done, I was thinking it would actually and would classify as a career professional development, wouldn't it? A CPD. Yeah. So if it was actually recorded, we can actually put it on our in-player platform and people could view it, and that's an opportunity for Vivien to actually increase funding, and she could donate it, she could do what she wanted with that. But it's a career professional development, recognising the impact of deafness on children through the performance. Sorry, I just suddenly had a light bulb moment.
We really, the focus is not going to be on deafness. The focus is on mental health.
Yeah.
We're just going to have young deaf people in alongside hearing people, you know, so there is an equity, and nobody is seen as, or you can't do it because you're deaf.
Yeah.
You can't do it because of this. So we're just going to create that. I'm going to write the play. I'm going to write the music's going to be a bit more difficult, but I'm hoping I've got some skilled people in the background that can help me with that. And we're going to do it. And I am determined.
Yeah.
And also, what I'd like to do is try and get it out nationally. So I'm going to be doing my best to get this out there because I feel like it's so important.
Yeah, and we will 100% support you in that, Vivien. You know we do, whether or not it's on Twitter, LinkedIn. It'd be weird if I didn't, if I'm honest. So I can identify very, very strongly. And good for you. Congratulations. I'm dying to see the music that you create, Vivien. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope the membership get on board as well and support you, and kind of, if there is anyone who has those talent sets that can either put some guidance.
We've got a couple of singers. There's definitely a couple of singers in the group. I know that would have connections.
It's the funding platform. We're going to have to try. I think it's probably going to be the Arts Council, but I think that's now under the lottery. So we're going to try and find some funding to do the work, because we need the funding. We can't do it for nothing. We can't do it for free, but we do want to do it so that it's professional and it looks fantastic, and we know what we're talking about, and we get those people involved that are already professionals in the field to really support us with it. But there's a
couple of people that come to mind that are professional performers around us. So I hope they, if anybody wants to get involved, if anybody wants to support that, then by all means let us know. We can kind of put the links together and make sure the right information goes to the right.
Yeah, and Vivien's easily contactable, bearing in mind she's a member, she's got her profile on our website, so it's not difficult to contact Vivien in any way, shape or form.
So guys, it's entirely up to you. I think it's phenomenally worthwhile, and I
love the idea. I
absolute
really
admiration
love the idea.
For what you're doing.
So that's Vivien's character.
True.
If I say something, I do it. I'm doing it, and that's it. So I'm rewriting the book at the same time. I'm doing this. I'm going to be looking at funding. I've got today and tomorrow off, and I'm going to do great work on these projects. So I'm just going to go between the two and just do the work that I want to do on these projects. So I'm excited.
Well, just remembering amongst that, Vivien, we have 5 minutes break. Just for you.
Take the time.
I'm getting my nails done today, so yes, I'm having that too. Yeah,
good.
So you do what I do. I get my nails done because it forces me to sit and do absolutely nothing. So it's my self-care hour. No matter what anybody thinks of me spending that money, that's my self-care time. So I'm with you on this one, Vivien. It's been. I'm wondering how much time we've got left.
Well, I will kind of just cast back to that first retreat weekend, just before you got your doctorate, and there was a few moments where collaborations were forming throughout that retreat weekend. And it's phenomenal for us to look back at the impact of those collaborations and where things have grown from those early moments, really. And I can remember somebody kind of bouncing around in the kitchen at Sudnall Hall, telling us how they'd found their inner comedian, and come back. And now we see an exceedingly excited professional who is doing amazing things, and 2020 is just opening more doors for you, and it's phenomenal to see, especially when we cast our mind back to that introduction that Vonnie gave. This can't be, this isn't the way this works. It doesn't happen like this.
Well, what I loved what I loved about that weekend was I saw almost like lots of adults that let their happy insides come out. You know, there's more than one person that really sticks out for me, that I almost saw an inner happy child come back and really, really enjoy and relish that part of themselves. But, you know, I'm not going to say it again. Vivien knows full well that image.
We love how those weekends have, for want of a better phrase, have blossomed into phenomenal outcomes.
And in my opinion, friendships. I know that I could ring up Vivien in an emergency, and even though I don't do it and she doesn't do it with me, we categorically know that actually I could. I could ring Vivien up and say, Vivien,
what do I do?
Whatever it is, I can't think of something. But I
know exactly.
Hand on heart, I can. And those are the kind of genuine people that are involved in APA. You know, every one of them are people that we both could do that and they could do it with us. And for me, that's one of the most important parts of what we created.
Yeah.
And I honestly do mean that. So thank you, Vivien.
Thank you. And also the Pellin Institute, you know, we're still in talks, we're still doing that project too. So it's just now juggling the time and how am I going to fit it all in?
Yeah.
Because I've got some other stuff going on with the Blossom Method where it's going to be trialled in a different setting.
Wow.
So that's on the horizon as well. So it's actually going to be trialled and then written about. So that's really exciting, but I can't really tell you too much about that. So I've been avoidant so that I don't slip up. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been doing the same thing over the stuff with Pellin, haven't we?
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. And the project that we've got with the Pellin it's absolutely huge. And are you ready? So I was already developing an elevated hospitality program. And taking everything that is in the marketplace for hospitality programs, hospitality management, etc., and linking it with psychological resilience, increasing coping strategies, predominantly for young people. And with the Pellin, what's happening is we're taking their programs, merging them with Hive group programs for young people, and then attaching them with the Hive, the APA Elevated Hospitality Program. So we have 3 elements coming together as a triad, which means young disadvantaged people will be able to get into the hospitality sector in a much more stable way, but also stay connected. And we see from DWP that disadvantaged young people that get into employment very quickly come out of employment and then find it harder to then get meaningful work after that. So this is a means of giving skill sets, resiliences, and industry sets that allow all of that to come together and give young people a genuine opportunity worldwide.
Yeah, and it's also important to acknowledge that part of that is giving therapists an opportunity to be able to work with those youngsters, but work with the whole of the hospitality sector themselves. So there's employment opportunities in here. But this, in my opinion, is a good way off. We've got a lot to do in between now and then. You know, so it's done, it's kind of sorted, but we've got so much else to do. We need to get through Borneo. We need to just get.
I knew about this. I knew about the story of that, so that's interesting. Are we still recording?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
We're still there. I think one of the things that we can kind of bring all of this back to and finish up for those that are watching is that as a featured member,
you had great faith in us,
who had amazing faith in us, and it's never been forgotten, and it's totally appreciated. And I hope that comes across, and I hope that people watching will see that, you know, we truly do appreciate the work that you do, but also your faith in your support of us.
And the way her personality rubs off.
Oh, of course.
That for me is what makes you the therapist you are, Vivien. Because when you can create such fabulous relationships with other people, well then outside the therapy room, then you're very good at creating them inside the therapy room. It's a given, and you rub off. And when you have that kind of character rubbing off on you, it just makes everybody smile. So, you know, for me, that's where Vivien comes very much into her own, her capacity and her personality. It's very much there, it's very strong, and it's very capable, and it's very loving, and it's very much Vivien Sabel. Dr.
Good. I can't take it anymore.
We just think the world of you, Vivien.
Oh, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. You're doing a fantastic job. You've had such a brilliant year. It's just been amazing, and it just keeps rolling. It keeps carrying on. So well done, guys. Just keep on keeping on. Yeah, and you know, what's happening next? Who knows? You know, it's exciting, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, well,
God only knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I tend to not look past the next day. I tend to not look past the next hour, you know, but yeah, there's so much going on. And that's what I like about, if you like, the three of us. They're constantly, there's this happening, there's that happening. And we'll get there when we get there, and it will happen when it will happen, and we'll be content and happy when it does. Yeah. It's as simple as that.
And I think that's it. And I think you need to put it out there. I think you need to write it down, and you need to make it happen. Yeah. And for me, doing these different things around mental health, around deafness, whatever it is, these different things that I'm really passionate about, just keep me going. Yeah. You know, it just keeps me going. It keeps that inner kid excited and moving forward and developing ideas, and it's fantastic. So I don't think if you train as a psychotherapist that's it. You know, just think outside of the box and do what you do, and think about how you can use your skills to support people in different ways.
Yes, Vivien. There's multiple different ways. And I think sometimes therapists are almost groomed into just working with clients. And my biggest lesson after 16 years of doing that was, you know, yeah, great, carry on doing that, but then you get hit with something really massive and suddenly you're floored completely. So yes, I could not agree with you more, and it was my biggest learning curve, doing other things. And without David, I wouldn't be able to do that. So the two of us working together. And
it has been a phenomenal year. It's obviously turning into a phenomenal year for you. The next year is obviously got a heap going on for all of us.
Yeah.
I hope that by recording this conversation, we can show members, non-members, those that are just curious as to what it is that we do and how we do it, will get to see that this isn't just a membership organisation who sits there and says, congratulations, now you're a member. We interact. We welcome the interaction. We want to know what members are doing. And where we can, we will support absolutely every single one. So Vivien,
thank you so much for asking me to be here today, but also to be member of the month and to be able to talk to you guys about what I'm doing, because obviously you can see that I get really excited, just bursting out, and it's like, where am I gonna put this? So how nice to be given this opportunity to talk to you guys today. It's fantastic.
Well, I'm sorry that we couldn't kind of record out on the beach or anything, but this evening it has rained.
Yes, the connection has been a bit on and off, because if you could see what we could see, we've got the lightning is going on, off, on, off, on, off. This is monsoon season. So it's been up at 40 degrees up until about 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then from 5 o'clock, the heavens just went, and that's it. So we haven't stepped outside since.
So
But we love it. It's just as hot when it's raining, Viv.
it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you. Thank you so much for sharing what's going on for you, and I hope everybody watching has kind of had a little bit of fun while we've had the conversation.
And gotten to know Vivien.
And that's the key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vivien.
Thank you, guys.
Take care of yourself.
You take care.
And keep us updated.
Bye-bye.
Bye.